Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. So, we're hitting you with something different today. First of all, welcome back to 52 Topics with Frank Fiorellino. This is episode 9, Card
Mm-hmm.
Games and Cafes. We're going to be talking about some Bonanno, some Gambino, a long-standing card game, ultimately controlled by both of those families. So, we're hitting you guys with something different today. Usually on Wednesdays, we release our pre-recorded official episodes. This is episode 9, but we're going to do it live today, and we're going to have the conversation as if we are recording it. I advise everyone to leave your questions in the chat, and I'll be looking them over and putting stars on them for the ones that I'm going to be answering soon. But we'll be talking probably in large chunks, 15 to 20-minute chunks, without answering any questions. But we will be getting to your questions. We promise you that. Frank, what is going on?
Good, good. How are you today? What's going on?
Doing well.
Not bad, not bad. I'm a little bit less congested. Monday I was freaking runny and everything. I feel a lot better. Change of weather up here. We're at it changes over here. You know how the Northwest is. We got 50 degrees today, so
Nice.
that's yeah. I don't know. I'd rather be consistent. You know what I mean?
Well, we're in the middle of I don't know, what do you call it?
Well,
A cold.
let's say hi to some people while we're here. No, before we start.
Yeah, we'll say hi to a couple of people. Then we're
Bro.
gonna get started.
Hey, Jeff from Cartagena. What's up, buddy? Friend of mine, Jeff. He's in Colombia. Dave Price, Omar, Joe Root, Chris Capello. Thank you for the donation, man.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, man. Joe Root, my man. And we got John DeLong. How's everything, brother? How are you? Good,
David
good.
Price, Omar, Joe Root, Chris Capello, Tatone. What's going on, my man? John DeLong, Chris Capello once again, and of course the great
Roro.
Roro.
Absolutely. What's up, Roro? How are you? So we got something different today. We're going to talk about the Baccarat game in my neighborhood. That was I don't know, close to from the '60s to until I was there. Maybe about 2002 was the last one I was at. But obviously, I wasn't there in the '60s. So my run was about 12 years. I got there in 1990, and I worked it. I started as the coffee guy, coffee boy. But if 300 to 700,000 a day, that's what I was making when I was a kid. I was probably making more than my freaking friends' parents were together in one day than they were doing in a week. So that's how it started. I don't mean to, because people say, but that was one job I liked. I wish I could still have that barista job. You know what I mean? But it started back in the '60s. My uncle John started it, and so it was that's my uncle John, because he died a couple of years ago. He was a captain in the Bonanno family, so he started the game on Knickerbocker Avenue, and it didn't go. It wasn't a two family thing at the time. It got that way around 75, 74, and the reason behind that was both families ended up having the game together. But it wasn't like that at that point, because being that Bushwick and some parts of Ridgewood were very Sicilian, you either had loyalty to the Bonanno Sicilian faction, or you had loyalty to the Gambino Sicilian faction. So these places, which were coffee shops, were like the Italian Americans, what they are as social clubs. Same thing, same idea. The only thing was we were open to the public, sort of. You walk in there, you get in there if you want, and there was only two types of coffees back then. It wasn't like Starbucks. You either got a cappuccino or an espresso. That's the one my brother takes over in '83. My brother Phil, and there he goes. Fuck him. But anyway, let's keep going, and that's where we are with that. So the game turns out after a while, a couple of people have it's a lucrative. I remember Bobby Glasses telling me as a kid, he went in there, he was up like 5,000. He took a break. Had that's Bobby, good guy. Um, had Uncle Pete, who was a sandwich guy for years. All right, so he would make a sandwich at the game. I'll give you the whole chain of employees, if you will. So he made him a sandwich, and while he made him a sandwich, he went to play again, and he ended up losing $6,000. He says that was the most expensive sandwich he ever had, and it was a game that ended up being more bigger. In the 70s, I remember Vito Licata um, ended. I don't remember hearing it. Vito Licata ran it in the 70s. He gets killed in 72. And he basically had a couple of guys that stayed with the game for a long time. One was Joe the Artist, who was a dealer. So if you're familiar with the Baccarat game, you have the dealers. You have one dealer usually, but in this case, he was also an auctioneer. He was called the Artist because he's very you thought he was one of those Italian movies like Fellini films. You know what I mean? But and just used words that normal Sicilians wouldn't understand. He talked a lot in dialect when he was wanted to
Okay.
be more important, but he was
Very
good for the game.
an eccentric character.
Not really,
Very like,
more of a
okay.
bullshit artist, but
Bullshit. Joe the artist as in bullshit artist.
and not as bullshit, and just like he sold it. He wouldn't volunteer bullshit. He just
Okay.
act as if he'd
I thought
been
he was
there, done that.
I thought he was artsy. I thought that's
Bohemian, maybe, I guess.
okay.
I don't know. It depends who you talk to.
Yeah.
But in the 70s, the game gets with Vito. Vito gets killed, that's Vito Licata. And we talked about him. He was one of the Licata brothers. They killed him in a pool. And he was also my uncle's Gumbada. But my uncle wasn't there no more, my Uncle John, because he was in and out of the United States. At the time, he had gotten into, they were investigating him a lot during the Bonanno War. So he, you, oh, okay. Scott H goes, I'm not in the Lamb no more. No. Yeah, so he ended up coming again in and out. I get to see him for the first time that I remember, maybe 6 years old. So you figure that's 1976, 77. So he was always between two countries, and a lot had to do with he was being investigated for the longest. Around that time, Lilo's out. So this is the game changes. When the game changes, it becomes a Gambino game and a Bonanno game,
And
and together
by the late 70s.
around 78, 77, 76, like that. So when that becomes that game, there's new laws. And one of them is that every coffee shop, because it's a seasonal game, it takes place in around October to around January, has to close.
Okay.
So the rules were you have two made guys there always. You had two Shylocks, two loan sharks, four dealers, two food guys, a door guy, and then I changed two, and then a barista. So you go up the eventually I'm a
Right.
door guy by the time I'm at 22, 21, and that's to make sure fucking nobody breaks into the game or whatever, or you know who's at the door. If you don't know somebody, obviously you don't open it. And that's when I get involved, but that's later on. But during that time, you had different people. So during like the Pizza Connection days, you had Catalano who was there, and then you had Patsy Conti who represented the Sicilian faction of the Gambino family. So not him, but he would put somebody there. And if Catalano was there, it's just because he was there. He had his own guy too. At times, Caesar would be there, and then they would have the old man Bonomo, which we heard about already. And that's when the game was the most lucrative because think about it, right? This was on the Pizza Connection, so you can only imagine the money that was at that game. The money trickled down like all the employees. How do you get that job back then? You had you it wasn't like it wasn't employment. You had to be put there by somebody, and at that
Even at like the lowest rung of that job, whether it be a guy making coffee or whatever it may be, you'd have to know somebody. That's so
absolutely, yeah. I mean, like I tell you, it was a pretty lucrative job at the time, and a lot of guys like if they were on the hook for some money and they were around some guy and they wanted him to make some money so he could pay off his shit and they liked him, they'd give him a job at the game, and you've seen a lot of that. And during that time, but during like let's say the Pizza Connection days, it was a big, huge ass game, and Tony Aiello also lent money at the game at one point that we talked about the other day. There he goes. So it was a very big game. Like you understand what a Texas Hold'em table looks like?
yeah.
Picture that full with freaking all money, all green on the table, and putting it together. Because you could auction off the bank. if you know what that means. It's like blackjack. Let's say if you think a blackjack shoot has a good 6, 7 streaks in it, the
Right.
next, right? But so after the one guy loses, you could auction off the shoe, thinking that you have a nice streak. You'll be the dealer, or you could be the player.
Okay.
Okay,
So
and
then you bet on the dealer or the player, basically? Is that
you could
kind
you
of
could give some money to the other guy, but they auction it
right?
off for 3,000. Somebody thinks it got a couple of good shoots in it. I'll say, oh, yeah, I'll take it, 3,000. Then Jody artists go 4,000, then a 4,000, and 5,000, and that's where it's pretty loud. You got people around. They go, I'll take some of that action. I'll take.
Wow.
And back in the day, was it impossible for somebody starting at 50,000? Said, boom, right there you go. So there was outside money. There was 4 dealers, and at the same time, maybe back then there was always 2, one controlling, one auction off, and bang, they would bang it out.
Wow. So let me ask you the payment structure as far as how much the house takes in from a game. I guess how many
Five
points?
percent,
5%.
5%. Yeah, that's a
Okay.
lot. But at the same time, shoots could go on for maybe between, if there's a lot of money between the whole fucking confusion, getting the money together, taking out for the part, having the Jody artist look at you with a sorry face because he wants a tip, and that whole night yacht, that could take fucking like 5-10 minutes, and basically, that they split it up, and he takes the tips. Of course, he always used to pattern himself a little bit better than everybody else, and they take and this goes on all night. Every time there's a new shoe, there's 5% that to be taken off. So that's a lot of money right there.
So uh barista, sandwich guy,
Got a
door
sandwich guy.
guy,
Yep.
or food prep guy, whoever, whatever it may be. As far
Right.
as them getting paid, that's solely tip based.
It's all tip based. It's not, you're
Okay.
not getting a salary, but every night you came in at the slows. The slows we used to make, and there was not a lot of, even when in the '90s when I got there, the slows a night could be is $150, but that was back then. But I'm talking about the '70s now. Actually, my brother starts off as a door guy. We talked about him. He starts off as a door guy, and he's put there by you would think my uncle, but he's not. There's a couple of other guys that put him there, the whole Sicilian faction. A couple of guys that are dead now, not around. And there was another guy there that was Mimo Tartamello, who also worked the game, who was also around the Sicilian faction, like a brother to us growing up. There he goes. So
Tell me about this guy. You say he
Mimo
was a
was
pizza
was
connection
was
guy.
hung out with, well, not really into that faction. Never really implicated on drugs. He died not too long ago.
Well, Runzavelli did. He was lying though.
But he also ran. Yeah, Ronzavelli was a butcher. We're gonna talk. He's our Sicilian Iceman from now
Yeah,
on.
yeah. He had him in a Porsche. He had him in a Porsche transporting heroin, I believe. And then he said, "No, I made it up. I'm sorry. It was a lie."
Right. Mimo ran Al Dente Pizza. Al Dente Pizza was the place where, if you ever watch those documentaries, they're making those phone calls outside of Al Dente, and
Okay.
Badalamenti's Gadano Badalamenti's nephew is calling Italy, and they tapped that phone right there. That's outside of Al Dente. Now Al Dente was a South Catalano place too. So that's who he was. He kind of he made a pretty good dollar. Like to gamble. I like to gamble. A lot of people like to gamble. So after it was all said and done, yeah, David, he was. All it was said and done, you know, people went back to fucking 101 because that money started disappearing. So around '84, you get the Pizza Connection case. You got a lot of these guys in jail. A lot of that money ain't around no more, and the game slows down. It's in Bushwick. Bushwick in the '84 around that time, even in '79, it was starting to go down. '79 was it was getting to it was getting. We talked about it. 1977. Check out that episode if you want to see what Bushwick was like. So the game was slowing down between people not really wanting to go there, afraid of winning money and leaving and getting robbed. There was a lot of things going on, and most of it was that the guys weren't around almost. So around 86, 87, my uncle Frank takes the game, and he's given to him. And my uncle did not want to be there in the worst way. He at one point he used to just stay there till around the game start, and he would leave. but that's around the time he's dead. And there's the old man Mike. Mike is Chifaloo. That's Dominic Chifaloo's dad, Uncle Mike, who was an amazing man. He was a great guy. Grouchy. He just told it the
John
way it
Stefano's
was.
his father, Mike. Is that what
Yeah, his
you're
dad,
saying?
Utu Miguel, we call him. I mean, it's
So
Uncle Mike.
he was doing what in reference to the game at that point?
He was just being there, sorting out seed freaking. You see when you got these two figureheads in there, and they're both made at the game. Um, One would stay longer, one than the other usually, but they would just yap it up all night. But it was a special time in my life, especially when I started working, because I remember Uncle Mike. Uncle Mike was a beautiful man. I loved him. And he didn't. I have stories that he would fucking tell people the way it was. He didn't give a shit, and he did it in English, even though he talked predominantly Sicilian. He had this Palermo accent, but when he tell you, "Go fuck yourself," he did it, and it was
Like
great.
what? What would be a reason though?
Um, One day he had this one kid that was working the door, and his name was Caesar. And Caesar was just this hypo motherfucker, just all over the. He hung out more with my brother, and he told him that he wanted to be an actor because I think Blaze had told him that he could come with him and or Anthony. One of the Carrazzo brothers with the acting. I don't remember with Blaze or Anthony, whatever.
Right, yeah.
I think it was around the time for that one movie, the Bronx Tale. So they said, "Hey, come over there." So he's telling me about he's got a shot. He could take it. He thinks he's like the next fucking Robert De Niro. But this is one during the game goes, and my dumb brother convinces him to go to ask Uncle Mike. Don't worry about it. But Uncle Mike is always, he's always looking for him. Like,
Right.
put this in my car. Go park my car. Do this and that. So he's not really no nonsense type of guy. By the way, if you liked you, you liked you. If you didn't like you, that was just the way. So this fucking guy, he decides to take my brother's advice, but my brother's fucking with him because he's good at that. And he goes over there and he goes, "Hey, Uncle Mike, can I talk to you?" And we're hiding, and we know it's coming up. So he goes, "Hey, you're fucking what, Robert De Niro? You want to go join a movie? Go fucking make money and shut the fuck up." The actor, he's doing that all fucking night,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
was fucking. Oh man, he set himself up with that. And poor Bobby, he was not poor Bobby. Bobby was almost peeing his pants. Bobby got Caesar the job there at the door. We're talking about people looking out for each other. It was like a family, bro. It was like a family. The Baccarat game was like a family. We stood together for 3 months from October to I'd say fuck around January when the game got weaker, and the game did die out during the.
Well, you say Bobby Glasses. Was he controlling some of that game?
Eventually, and like my uncle, but he just inherited. There was a lot of these guys. They were like, "Oh fuck."
But that's wild because you have a guy like him who kind of comes up growing up and he knows the game as a younger guy, and then he ends up kind of taking it over later. It's funny how that works sometimes, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't the same game either. But at the same time, it was a lot of people used to come to this game. I remember when I started working around 90, yeah, I get the job and it's moved to Giannini's coffee shop. They get out of the bad neighborhood. We go up to Ridgewood and they have it at Giannini's. I remember the what's his name? Fucking Quack's son used to come, the older one a lot. The good kid too, the one who died. Really nice guy. John. John used to come a lot. His friend Pete, he used to come with this guy Pete. They were gamblers. They were always there. A lot of people. Howie was
All right.
regular
Yeah.
around 95, 96. I think he had come out of jail at the time. He had done a bullet in Rikers, and he used to come to the game as well. But this game then it moved again, and the reason why it moved a lot was because a lot of people who owned these places were afraid the cops would fucking come in there and just destroy it. Like Janine's was a nice place around 90, and we do get raided. I see an Italian guy come in there with a fucking gun while I'm in the back. This is before the game starts. And he's got a gun on. I said, "Oh shit! I'm worried about my uncle because I'm talking to him right next to him." I said, "This motherfucker's ready to take a shot." And and he came in, and then he showed the badge, and there was like 20 of them. They grabbed Caesar and another guy Zeke who was at the door. He was a sandwich guy. They were trying to hold the door, and they just barreled. They arrested both of them for being at the door, and they took them in with them. I'm laughing because these were just great memories. But my uncle puts that face on he used to with the mugshot, and he's
Oh
not
yeah.
happy. He was about to go home about 5 minutes, and then he gets caught up on this.
Fuck.
They let us go. They don't let him go. They arrest the other two. He says he was just there. and yeah. So they were there. So while we're leaving, I keep looking at the comments. So as they're leaving, the cops, we're leaving, we're all outside, and I see Vito Grimaldi out there because he's seen the commotion. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? Don't go here. They're gonna fucking, they just let us go. And then here's Louis with Steve circling the block. All of a sudden, there's a backup car takes a picture of both of them.
Oh,
So
no.
like, what the fuck are you doing here anyway? They were in the place, but they were outside. So
Was that Messino's building?
no, that comes out later. So all these games, all these fucking games in particular, all these this game that was going on, um, it causes fucking. We're laughing about it, but it's a RICO. Oh,
Right.
so many RICOs came out of this fucking game. That's unbelievable. Like the first, I testify in 3 cases. Okay, I testify in 3 cases. Guess what I testify against? 4.
For gambling, I assume, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it links. It's a piece that links these guys to these
Right, right,
fucking games. And what links Joe Messino to the game? His building. So
right.
there's this his building on Fresh Pond Road. This is one of the last days of this game over the years. So again, we moved to his place. He goes, "Why don't you move the place to Sandro's place?" Sandro's is a made guy in the Bonanno family. He pays him rent. Place wasn't doing too well. Joe's fucking greedy. He says, "Yeah, give get Sandro the business so he could pay me this fucking ridiculous rent, right?" So he gives it to him, and we go there, and this one really solidifies the fucking racketeering because what happens is while we're in there, we get busted in there again, but this time the feds bust us.
Okay.
So they take a picture of all of us. There's mugshot circulating. There's me, Bobby. Who was there too? I think one of my nephews that just happened to get in there. His mother would have fucking killed him. Joe Grimaldi's dead too, and the feds take pictures of us there. Whatever, we're just visiting. But since we were in the first room, they didn't bother us. But I remember this fed as they go, "What's your name?" One lady goes, "What's your name?" And he spells my fucking last name. I mean, perfect. He looked like he was straight out of fucking like Idaho,
Yeah.
Like, oh man, that wasn't good. I said, "What the fuck, bro?" It's FIORD, and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. What's up, Tito? What's up, mate? Yeah, so
This ain't your average mob genre pronunciator. This
oh,
guy,
no. If that was Lee
he was
taking
ready
those
to
names,
go.
I probably would have walked on a technicality. No, but yeah, so that's the game, and the game lasted for a long time, but they just broke it down. I remember I knew something was wrong because the last time it got busted, David Price, yeah, Sandro Alosio, how do you say that? Alosio, Sandro. So the game got busted in 90 less, and then within the Cafe Village, which my uncle had the game there for a second, they closed him down. Then they busted us in the cafe, the Milan Cafe. So there was something going on. They were looking for, and that was Operation Messino. And sure enough, the gambling aspect that I do testify on Messino,
Mm-hmm.
to get my kind of deal, if you will. That he was crying about it through the freaking WITSEC units I cost him $13 million.
He put that on you.
Yeah, he put that on
So let
me.
me ask you something. Because you said
Yeah, with every motherfucker that
right.
ratted on him, all his best friends and something, and maybe I got a hello and goodbye sometimes. I was the one who got him the $13 million forfeiture, just because I told about this fucking game,
Right. But the game, when he had the game in his building, that got raided, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not rocket science. He owns the fucking building.
Well, that's what they put on him, that he was running a game, and Sandro was at front that worked for him. So they all went through this fucking,
He
this
somehow
whole.
wanted to put a lot of it on you. I mean, whatever. I guess.
Well, who gives a fuck? At that point, I didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? I was even when I did flip on him. Of course, there was that sense of he was who he was. Did I think he was going to flip? No. But in the back of my mind, I was trying to rational fuck in my brain anyway.
Right.
Brain incest. I started thinking, you know what? This guy was fucking trying to annihilate everything, every Sicilian fucking out there that ever gave him a fucking little bit of a chance. Look, that could have been my friends. That could have been anything. So what? I'm gonna get off on fucking life imprisonment if I go to trial by telling on a fucking gambling about Joe Messino. I
Yeah.
said, but people don't see it that way. You know, when they see who I flip on, they think just because they all got life that I contributed to their
Right.
life sentences on the violent end. I didn't. Did I contribute to them getting convicted? Yeah, I did that, but I didn't bring no violent aspect. It seemed like the fucking government just wanted to hear about this fucking game.
Yeah. Hey,
And
we're gonna get to that part of your life. We won't even go down
Mhm.
this because we're certainly gonna get to that
Right.
part of your life. We'll for those of you wondering that can't wait for that to happen, it's gonna happen. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
stick with this game.
Sure.
You know, this is episode 9, by the way. You guys are watching a live stream of us doing episode 9. We're gonna get to your questions soon. We're gonna wrap up a little bit more on the game. We're going to get to some of your questions, and then we're going to go into cafes, and we're going to cover a couple of other things. On this game, though, Frank, because you mentioned something quickly earlier, there's the idea of, okay, the game's going on. You better make sure you're closed.
Right,
Go
yeah.
into that aspect of the neighborhood when these places have to close. They have to show respect for what's going on over there. Don't take any
Mhm.
action. Go into that and like what happens when they don't, because I'm sure that has happened.
Yeah, well, basically around October, right a week before the game, we have to notify the places that our players would go to, the people who would play in the game, or anyone who's Sicilian run gambling operations. We need to go to them and tell them that our game is starting at 11:30. You guys need to close latest 12 because at 12 we start. So for 3 months they needed to close up their fucking place. Um, and we used to do that. I was cool about it. My uncle would go with Joe Bosco, who was, he was a plumber. I don't know how he became underboss. I guess that's how it works these days. And then shelved. So, but anyway, he was all right guy, but I heard he got a little too fucking up in his head. He used to go over there. He used to make sandwiches, by the way, over there. So we used to go there and tell people to close. He was cool about it. We have Mikey Boots, who was up my uncle's ass. He was from my town. We call him Mikey Boots because he'd wear Sergio Tacchini's and a pair of fucking Italian greaseball boots. Yeah, no fucking game whatsoever, but he's funny though.
That's
Um,
good.
I,
That's a good look. I mean,
I
listen.
hope he's still alive. I
Hey,
don't
listen,
know.
I live in New York City. I've seen tracksuits with Timberlands. I mean, I can't say that's any better or worse, to be honest.
Man, and he had the reddest fucking face in the world. This
Yeah.
guy. Um, I don't know if he drank. I don't think he drank. Maybe a glass of wine or something like that. But he was at times he was tolerable. At times he wasn't so much. And Joe Bosco was related to him, I think, by marriage or something. But he ended up getting the job either through my uncle. But he had to go through my uncle anyway, so he ended up being the sandwich guy. Fuck. What else?
But what would happen though? Like, what happens? Like, okay, this guy closed. This guy closed. This guy wants to push it to 1 o'clock. He's still open. He's like, I ain't fucking closing until 1 o'clock. Well, I mean, what happens?
Oh well, there's consequences. It's happened before. My brother
What are the
actually.
steps though? I mean, I'm sure they just don't go in there and start beating people up
This is
on the
what
first.
pisses me off about fucking even talking about my brother because that's what he did. They told him to do it. He'd do it. He'd bring his fucking 10, 15 guys to go in the fucking place and tear the place apart. Fucking just like didn't happen much, but it happened.
This gentleman
Um,
right here.
yeah, before the mic saved his mustache because that was
Okay.
before he really got more deep
So your
in.
brother would actually at one point in time be that guy who had to go out there and if he
Yeah,
had
he take
to.
people and do it, and he got and
Right.
he got locked up for it. And the people who said that, I'm gonna say my late uncle did help him out, and he took 9 years and a half, 10 years, but among other things too. But just just what happens, what happens in that world. Fucking, you figure your family help you out, didn't help him out at all. He came out and then he wants to start shit with other people. Fuck, it's neither here nor there. Fuck him. It is what it is. I mean, he goes around telling people that I personally, not to talk to me like family members and stuff, but he talks to a cousin of mine whose wife his brother put him in jail.
Okay.
He talks to my cousin. He picks spots. That's what he does. Why does he
Right.
talk to fucking Joe Shalara's wife and fucking my cousin Phil? He's the one who put you in jail. He's
Yeah.
the one who told you you were involved in the fucking the armed robberies. But you talk to him though. But you tell everybody else that. Well, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that one didn't go too good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I won't put his picture up on the screen again.
Yeah, I don't know.
Make
It gets me
we
aggravated.
won't do
Not
that
the
again. But I want to ask
bullshit.
you,
Fucking
going
sticks
back in time a
people
little
lose
bit
it.
to the 70s, because a lot of people, they get interested in this character. There's some kind of a aura around him. What is a guy like this doing at the card game?
Hanging out, fucking seeing if anybody wants money or something like that. At that point, he's a fucking he gets a little bit more involved and and he's a captain at this point. So he was running people there. He was eating off that game. Him, who else was there? Fucking I mentioned Catalano. Um, there's fucking who else? There's Catalano that's eating off that game. And Tony Giordano, the one of the other guys. Tony Aiello was putting money out at the game.
Okay.
He was a money guy, and this game was powerful. There was different fucking like situation, like circumstances that come out of this game. There was always rumor that that the Licata brothers might have got hit because they didn't close that game. Now nobody's alive that might have killed them.
Oh, wait, hold on. So we got some video though.
Yeah.
Because we spoke about this in 1982, right? We did the episode
Mm-hmm.
1982. If you guys haven't
Yeah.
watched it, check out the year 1982. So Joe and Andy Licata, right? They get killed at their cafe. So I know you mentioned this last time, but you didn't want to go too deep down the rabbit hole, but there is a chance that maybe these guys didn't want to close, or
That was the rumor that was speculated, and it was speculated through a lot of it came out of not that I would have known. Law enforcement was trying to go through that rabbit hole, and then when that happens, other people speculate. They were trying to say that it was because of the Aiello Cafe. That had nothing to do with him. It helped him because he was the other coffee shop on Fresh Pond Road. That would be Tony. But that was, I think that was much deeper. And then Andy was just an asshole too. The brother who got killed.
yep.
But they also speculate that they went after Joe, which makes sense because after they killed Andy, they went after Joe. So who knows if it was just who knows? But most of these guys involved, they're no longer. I don't think they're no longer alive. And if one of them is, maybe who knows? I don't know who was involved, but there was only a couple of murders that were done that way back then, and
Right.
it's hard to. What I'm trying to say is, it had an MO. Put it that way.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Andy, if we don't talk about Andy a lot. Andy was fucking a guy that people really didn't like a lot. There's a kid Coop that comes on. He had a story. They wanted to tell about Andy. I got a story about Andy. He took my brother Phil's car when he was a kid, and he was like 5 years older than Phil. Phil had just gotten his car, and he started doing donuts with him. Didn't come back. 5 years older. And my other brother who passed away, Enzo, he went home and they got my dad's rifle and they went to this place they used to hang out, Konos on DeKalb Avenue. And they chased Andy and he went right underneath the car. And they convinced my brother Enzo not to shoot him or
Oof.
fucking take him out. And there was an old guy that he just passed away. His name was Frank Ubats, Frank Ngoya. He talked my brother out of it, my brother Enzo. So that was years ago. He was just a fucking, bully.
Like you said, one of them was a hunchback,
That was Joe. He was the younger brother.
like
The
a
younger brother.
legitimate.
Yeah. I
Like
got to know the nephews too later on in
Yeah.
life, and they were pretty good guys. I liked them.
Interesting.
Yeah. I like the kids. They were good. I think they owned a restaurant or something. But that's where they are.
Huh.
But what
All
else
right,
we
so-
got? We got the coffee. Yeah, those were the coffee shops. Those were the breakdowns. A lot of people that it was like a family at one time. We had the kid Vito Love worked there with me at one time. The kid Joe DeLeo. We had a lot of fun. I remember one time me and Vito were standing next to Sandro Alosio, and somebody passed by with one of those pellet guns, not pellet guns, but a paint gun. So
Paintball gun.
yeah. We were outside his fucking place, and he got shot, and he made it a dramatic thing because he was more a money guy, but now that he was in the mob, I guess he had to play it off like, and he said it in Northern Italian, like "I've been shot," like that. We looked at him, and just like flaked this shit off his pants and said, "Bro, that's fucking pain."
I knew some kids that used to drive around doing that shit, man. That's fucked up.
The Ralphie used to do that shit
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
with the with
yeah.
the prostitutes on Flushing Avenue. He was just a
Oh,
fucking
nice. Yeah,
He was an
real nice.
asshole. Hmm?
Yeah, real nice. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
We'll
I've been
get
hit.
to those stories one at a time. He wasn't a nice guy.
Yeah. All right, so
Yeah,
we covered the game. We're gonna go a little more into like the coffee shop stuff or the
sure.
cafes. I think that was a pretty good segment. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Once again, you're listening to or watching episode 9 of 52 Topics with Frank Fiordolino. We're doing something different today. We're doing this whole thing live for you. Usually we have the pre-record, we put it out as a live premiere, but we're not actually with you. It's been pre-recorded, edited, the whole thing. But we're here live, and we're going to take a break now, Frank. I
Sure.
starred a bunch of comments along the way. We got some donations. We're certainly going to go over some of
Of course.
those.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So let's see what I got. I got David Price up here first. Thank you once again, everybody, for being with us. We got 130 people right now. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying the content. David Price. David Price says, so the maid guys were there to supervise, split the take, and arbitrate disputes.
The main guy, the main guys were just there to show their face. They didn't touch no money at all. That was more like the dealers and even the loan sharks. They had a private spots where they would put their shit. Um, it was a different kind of Shylock operation that you would get in if you went to look for somebody and got 3 points off them. If they knew you and you contribute to the game, and the game took a lot of house based on you being there, they gave you a break. All money had to be there by the time the game started. They would go that route, give it about 6 months to a year. But the Shylocks sometimes would get involved. They would gamble themselves, and then they give themselves 6 months. I haven't seen this guy, that guy, and the people were like, "Well, we need our money." So it was a little bit of a fuck around all around.
Yep. Yep.
My uncle Frank didn't play that game. He wasn't a gambler like that. If you had to give him money, he wanted his fucking money. And did you ever have Hold'em games? And how? No, Jeff, we didn't. That was before my time. We had 7 card poker games.
All right.
Some
So
blackjack games at freaking churches and shit. But no.
question number 2, start. I got like 6 or 7 of them lined up, and then we'll go through the other ones that we haven't seen.
Sure.
So Chaim Putz, my man, what's going on? Frank, to your knowledge, were any NYPD employees aware and compensated to protect the game from police inquiries or prosecution?
Sicilians had a little fucking problem with going to bed with NYPD. Was it more like Italian Americans who basically some family members? And I'm not saying these guys weren't as trustful as just Sicilians to go to bed with law enforcement was a little bit rare, a lot.
This is not a question; it's a comment. So I'm going to read it. It's a good comment, and this guy's got my favorite new name that I've seen popping up on YouTube. I think he's over at NYC Crime Spot also. Sewer Pipe Casso. He says, best channel on YouTube. Thank you, Sewer Pipe Casso.
Thank you.
Not to be confused with the other Pipe Casso. George Singh, does Frank have any information on the Troutman Street shooting in the 60s between rival Bonanno faction? That's an episode we're going to do, right?
Yeah, and I do, and it's from the older people that I came across. That people I didn't even know were there. They're like, "Oh yeah," people didn't even know who I was until my last name, and they were like, "Oh, I knew your Uncle John back in the day, and I did this." Not we were there, and then became friends. So stuff like that. But not I wasn't there. I wasn't even born.
Lewis Webb, he says, great. We can all see you now, Frank. You were good on your word with that. Loving the show, guys. Thank you, Lewis.
Yeah, I was gonna go gung ho with this show. There's certain things that even just showing a picture of my brother, fucking, whatever. As much as fucking we don't get along, never will. At the same time, when they asked me, that was one of the things I told them. I ain't telling them my brothers, and that's that. And they could have told me to go fuck them. I wasn't like I was bringing. They couldn't run that case without me, you know. I mean, fuck. So they were like, no, no, we'll give you. They said we'll give you immunity on your brother who passed away, but we don't promise anything on the other brother. But we're not going to ask you anything about your other brother because we feel that he um, and we're talking about the one you showed a picture of, that we felt that he had a lot to do with other people. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know it. We couldn't even stand each other on the street, so it didn't matter. So I mean, it is what it is. I don't know. And another one was a friend of mine that I called Nick. I said, you guys screwed him as it is. Not, I didn't say it that says. He says do it for something he probably didn't even do. And I'm not. You bring these people in front of me that I ain't talking. And they stuck to their word.
Timothy O'Reilly, is that euros? I think €2, I believe.
Who you
The
are?
men, the icons. I don't know if he means us or the individual speaking of, but maybe true on both parts. We
What's
appreciate
that?
it. We appreciate it. $2 from Timothy O'Reilly.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you.
Pat Tone, $5 in Trudeau bucks. Well, wait, I'm sorry.
My man.
I'm sorry, Trudeau is gone. $5 in Canadian bucks. I can't say Trudeau bucks anymore. Taylor, 19.99. Thank you, buddy. Great show. Frank, does Bobby Glasses come from the same area of Sicily as the Cefalus? Seems like Bobby was close with them. I think they are from Palermo City.
Yeah, they're Palermo, but I don't think they're from the same area. I think the Cefalus are more like from the same area as Patsy Conti. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but not. I think Bobby's from what's that town Lucky Luciano is from? I think that's where he's from. Did you ever see anyone lose big time? I mean, Holmes, but yeah, businesses for sure. Or even going that route. There was one guy I knew. He passed away. He lost $250,000. I think he had 100,000, and with that, then he lost his business after that, and he contemplated hanging himself. And he would joke about it all the time when he would explain what kind of money there was back then. And he worked with me making sandwiches later on, and he would explain. I'm laughing only like fucking gamblers can. Um,
Well, what do you mean?
yeah,
What do you
people from
mean?
Carini, of course, Jeff. I knew people from Carini.
Well, Jeff
Yeah.
wants
So
to know if you like Gamora. I think maybe he's fucking with you.
do I like the two? Yeah, it's not bad. I like it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought you didn't watch it. I thought you were
I
saying.
did. I did. I like the movie.
Oh, okay,
What was
okay.
it? I like the movie better than the series. The series was okay. It was a little, TV esque. But
Okay.
I watched it. I watched it. Yeah, yeah. It was a really it was a good one. Did you ever? Yes, Pete Rosa was with the Bonannos too. He flipped. Nobody ever talks about him though.
Did you ever meet an individual named Pietro Peter Rosa?
Pete Rosa, yeah, of course. Pete Rose.
Corruption Connection. Did you play 7 card Guadari? It was popular with the old timers.
Not
We called it
not
non Sapica.
no peak.
No peak.
Yeah, yeah, no peak. Yeah, that means that they're down. Yeah, I've done it all. I played it all. I'm a degenerate gambler back then, and I done it all. But yeah. So that was where it is. What else we got?
So part two, you wanted to speak more. You wanted to touch more on the cafes.
Yeah, no, who else were dealers with that? There was Uncle Pete, there was Jesse James. Uh, that was my
Jesse
brother's
James.
right hand man. They hung out together. But they got one guy got 10 years, one got 9 years in that whole Giannini case. And that's where it went, you know. How about Charlie? I don't remember. I do know who you're talking about, Pedge, but obviously we'll get to that too. But no, not to that degree. No, he kind of let himself go too. Who we got? We had Pete the Hook. He had the Zeppeli stand. He was a dealer. And this kid I grew up with, Joe DeLeo, one night he put a new link in, and we used to put fucking like garbage bags while he was dealing. Like 30 to 40 fucking garbage on his fucking car. He used to flip out. He'd be swinging them, fucking cars be passing. Motherfucker. And we'd be hanging out laughing. Our boy, pretty mean, come to think of it, but it was it brought back a lot of memories. Those fucking games brought back a lot of memories for sure. Did Eddie Leno play at the game? No, Eddie Leno did not play. Not that I remember. Anyway, that was before my time. I was there in '90. There was a lot of people. Paul Graziano, he was a big tipper. He used to tip me a lot of money. He was Conti's, I think, cousin or something like that. They were like related. But there was a lot of people that used to come to think about it.
Tell me about, because I know you wanted to split this up to like I know they're kind of the same thing, but you wanted to talk more specific. Tell me about a place like this in the neighborhood, for example.
That was the place that was Aiello's coffee shop, the Caffe Aiello. Formerly, it became Nino after. It was a nice place. It was one of a kind at the time. It was a lot of where people who started moving up to Ridgewood started hanging out, and it was very short lived because they also got raided. The time they were looking for Tony Aiello, they arrested his brother-in-law, who's Joe Gambino's father, and they arrested him. I think there, Phil Filippo, we call him Uncle Phil. He ended up getting 7 years. His wife ended up getting like 3-4 years. Tony was on the lam. They took in his dad too. So it was like he got to see that place for about 2 years, and then they took him in, and he's been in jail since then. And I've been
Yeah.
Talking about that too a little bit, not a little bit, a lot too long, especially for a case like that. So I hope he gets home. I hope he gets home.
What do you mean by first of its kind? What do you mean by that?
For that neighborhood, or
Oh,
well,
for
the
the
coffee
neighborhood,
shop
you're
back
saying?
then had a little fucking like
You're saying for that neighborhood?
or even any neighborhood. The coffee shops back then had a little around our neighborhoods, not too much. Bensonhurst started looking good. You know, their
Right,
coffee
right.
shop started looking good. But around my neighborhood, they look like when I was growing up, they looked like somebody's basement, you know, with the fucking brown
Yeah.
you know, where you'd expect a deer to be being hung, a deer's head
Yeah.
or something. You know, that kind of shit.
Yeah, I
But
get it.
the
I get it. I
good
had this
smell of
old
coffee, they had the gelato and all that other stuff too. But this place was marble, and you walked
okay.
in, and it
All
had
right. So it was like that. Yeah,
one
yeah.
room and then another room and a top of the line fucking bar with the $10,000 coffee machine. You know,
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
and then the outside was pretty nice too for its time. And then Giannini's was in a bad place either.
Okay. Okay. So that's what you mean by that. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
Uh,
was. So these coffee shops, that's what it was. So everybody, what happened with the coffee shops was there were only so many that were allowed to open at one time. But then came in the Joker poker machines around 85, 86. So a lot of these guys were allowing, especially guys who were in the vending business. So if I was a vendor and I was getting into Joker poker machines, and another area my brother gets screwed by my uncle over, but it's okay. We're there. Um, when you open these coffee shops, right, and you're a vendor, you allow other people to open up coffee shops because they're going to put these machines there, and
yeah.
these machines got so lucrative. Who cared about a fucking a card game that was who was yielding $10 to $25 in fucking house money, unless it was a poker game, and even then, when you could have that fucking much on a 50% fucking cut, or some guy putting $2,000 on a fucking machine, a video
Yeah.
poker machine. So when that happened, more coffee shops came out, and at there, the more coffee shops started coming out, and at that, more machines were taking over the card game. So that's what was going on.
Right.
Um, but and did it hurt the baccarat game? Kind of, because when the baccarat game would only be 3 months, that's why people would opening up. They were like, "We got machines here. We only got machine players here. They're not coming to play cards." But people, that was that double-edged sword. They were like, "Nah, we don't give a fuck if you got machines there. You're gonna close because those guys could come and play by
Yeah.
us."
Yeah. Of course.
So then people were getting a little bit slick. They were closing their doors, opening up the back door, so the people would come in and play the machines, and that's when they would get caught with their pants down.
Fucking degenerate. It is a different type of player, though, right? I mean, some people just want to fucking. They
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah,
invest too much
yeah,
time. They just want to fucking,
yeah. A machine player is one of those who, what do you say, fucking wants to be alone. What do you call that?
uh, introverted, fucking recluse,
Not introverted, but fucking somebody
recluse.
like
A reclusive?
No, one who has that one-on-one fucking wants that one-on-one interaction. I forgot what it's called,
Okay.
but yeah, that's what they are. They're not card players. A lot of barbers I've seen that like they're one of the most addictive personalities. Barber guys that used to cut hair in those hair salon
Yeah.
places. They were the biggest degenerates in when it came to those machines.
Who, the
They
Russian
never played
Jews?
cards, huh?
I said who? The Russian Jews?
No, what Russian? So
Those are,
about fucking
those are the
Sicilian
only
hair.
barbers I knew growing up. They were all Russian Jews, and they were
In my
fucking,
neighborhood, you had the ones who had the Saturday Night Fever
they were
fucking things
slinging
up there,
pills.
you know. But what we got? I got Casa. What we got?
Jason Diamond, thank you so much, buddy. 1999 says he just wanted to donate. Thank you,
Thank you,
Jason.
Jason. I appreciate all you guys
Much
out there.
appreciated.
So the Joker machines competed with the card games, except for the loners that wouldn't go play. Yeah, David. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I knew guys that fucking were just degenerate all around. They'll play cards, horses, cockroaches, whatever. Fuck, if the machine was there, they go after. But the usual guy who went to work before he went to work and went to go visit the machines, he was not a loner type, but a fuck. What do you call? What do you call a person that doesn't get along with other people?
Oh, antisocial.
Antisocial. There you go.
Yeah,
That's what the fucking word I was looking for. They're antisocial.
antisocial.
They're antisocial
Yeah.
behavior people, or they,
Okay.
it was kind of weird. They had one guy who used to get fucking drunk, dump all his fucking money in the place, and he was a hair cutter, then cry in his fucking place that he spent all his fucking money. You know.
Somebody asked a good question up there before. They asked, well, he mentioned Catalano Bakery, but I'll expand on your question. I forgot who it was up there,
Sure.
but as far as like supplying, let's say you got a sandwich guy or a guy who's cooking, where are you getting the bread? Is each place like
Good question. That's a
Grimaldi's?
very actually.
The Grimaldi's is over there, Catalano's there, or whatever it may be.
I'm not gonna tell you who the place was, but yes, definitely
Okay,
a mob vendor.
right.
Everything, even okay. So the game would start, and we'd have an opening game, and out of that opening start, we had to pick a restaurant. Of course, it was Kono's one year. They would cater our food for the opening. The opening would be like a big apertura, we called it, like the grand open. So you would get different people there. You'd get guys from the Bonanno family, guys from the Gambino family, the main guy, and then they're captains, and they will eat, and they will leave. And you'll probably, most of them you never see again, unless they were degenerates and would slip in during the game. But they would get the Casablanca. There you go. That became a popular one for a couple of years. Um, I mean, that's where the food was coming from. Nobody was going to argue that.
Yeah, how was that food, by the way?
Uh, I could say now mediocre at best. I was
Okay,
talking one time, and like everybody used to ask me, "How's the food there?" It's all right. It was okay. Fucking
yeah.
depend who you were at. They'll tell you it was on the money.
Oh, Bo, it's so good,
I
Bo. It
wasn't
was
gonna
the best.
complain first. I wasn't gonna complain. And yeah, it was the best. Fucking apparently Joe, what the fuck is it? Joe D'Amico he was done with one and he put a knife right through the fucking steak, and somebody told Joe. And he asked for him to come back right away and explain that. And he went over there right away. He said, "No, I was just done. I didn't mean nothing by it, Bo, that crap." But yeah, they were all for, oh, this is the
What do
best
you
day.
think it was? Like, this is garbage.
I don't know what the fuck he did, but it wasn't that,
Oh my god, that's too funny, dude.
Thank you, Sally. I appreciate it, Sally. Thank you for your support. What was the best
Corruption.
Italian bakery in Queens back in the 80s and 90s? Mob facts. Shit, bakery in the 80s.
County
It was
bakery in Queens back in the 80s, 90s.
there was a lot. There was Monreal. They had a good bread. I think they're still around too. Check them out. Grand Amu, Grimaldi's had good bread. But I mean, if you're talking about, but see, they made a lot of they kicked out a lot of bread. I'm thinking. Shit. Who had the best?
Well, we have different
Reduces
areas.
was good bread too. Paul's family made good bread as well. They were
What was the
very
name of that?
Paul's dad, Paul Ragusi's dad, had a bakery back in the day, and it was up there. It was probably, if not the best, up there for sure.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, they come from a long line of bakers, and they're good at what they do.
Let me get you a couple
Joe
questions.
Madison had Johnny's Cafe. Pedge says a freshman. Joe Madison. I don't remember. That was a while. Yeah, fucking. I got selective memory at certain times.
Corruption says, you ever go to a pizzeria, coffee shop on Lorimer Street in Williamsburg? San Monero, he thinks the name is.
I remember on Graham. That's up the block. There was two of them. Laura, I think Creashy's was on that.
Thank you,
It's been
Sal.
a while. It's been a while. I used to go there. I like Williamsburg. I had a lot of friends over there that I made later on in life. Oh, Joe Messino. So yeah. That was the one we're talking about. The one he got the 13. Patch goes Messino's place on Fresh Pond. Yeah, that was the one he got the $13 million forfeiture on, according to him.
Richard Castagna asks if there's that's funny. That's funny if true. For those of you who've never seen where Casablanca is, it's right next to the freight tracks. He says, is it
Yes.
true that there's a trapdoor leading down to the tracks?
No, I didn't know.
I don't think it's you'd have to have like it doesn't sit down on the tracks. So
No, it could happen. No, it's
elevated,
like
but
yeah, it is elevated. But I used to that was my playground when we were kids. Those train
yeah.
yards right there,
Yeah,
those freight
yeah.
yards.
Fresh
We
Pond,
used
yeah.
to play on them and go all over the fucking place. Dangerous thinking about it now, but that's what we used to
I've been
do.
on those tracks before, believe it or not.
Really, really.
Couple
The
times.
soccer field is right there too, the Metropolitan
Fresh
Oval.
Pond, yeah.
So if you go straight towards like Brooklyn, you pass the Metro. We used to take the tracks to the field, and sometimes we used to hang out there when we used to kick soccer balls over on the out of bounds. We used to take them and run. They ain't chasing us.
Yeah, it's a well-known freight layup. Like freights would lay up there for a long time.
Yeah, that goes out to Fresh Pond Road.
Yeah,
That goes out to
yeah.
TSS Metropolitan Avenue, all the way to until it turns electric. Um, by Forest Hills.
What's up, Emerald? How are you? Hope you're doing well. David M. LaFleur. You ever eat at Al Diarco's place, La Donna Rosa?
No.
Catania Bakery for bread, Fortunato for pastries. Corruption says.
Rich goes, we used to meet you on the tracks. Yeah, heading to that's right. When we go to Farmers Oval, Richard Castagna, 100%. You and Joey Graham. I remember that when I used to go to baseball practice. I took the tracks, and then on Sundays we used to rob them. The freights.
Oh, is that right? You would rob those freights?
Yeah, on Sundays. So there was a produce place there and everything. They would
Yeah.
stop there, and on Mondays they would. And we would get, onions, fucking, just to rob them, fucking fruit roll-ups, Lucky Charms.
Yeah. And see, not so much me, maybe a couple times, but more so my friends. And I've been to the Fresh Pond tracks. There's the one where I don't want to say, but it's right over there, and you walk up this little tiny fucking thing.
Yeah, right. And you're on Metropolitan Avenue.
Yeah, so
Yeah, we used to hang out there and look over while the trains used to come out as 10-year-olds. We used to look over like this with our heads just on where the train was passing. We used to do stupid shit like that.
And I don't know if you've ever went down to it's the same tracks. I don't know if it's the same tracks. There's tracks by Juniper Valley Park, like right across the street. You can
different
go through
tracks.
Yeah, those are different tracks. You ever go down on those? And you can walk those. Yeah, we used to mess around on those ones too. Those are fun too.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Right across from the park.
Well, we used to go to the movie theaters too. We went to Forest Hills or Middle Village. We used to take the tracks as kids all the time. Yeah, we robbed the tracks at Otto Road. Oh, Nabisco was there, Pentab. So it depends what we got that day. It was like, and it wasn't like fucking that we needed a rob. We had nothing to do on Sunday, somebody always got fucking clipped. Yeah. That was our summer vacation. Some people brought their kids. Okay, we hung out on the train tracks.
Do you remember Milo's on Devo and Lorimer?
Laura, which one? Milo's on Deep? No.
RD, what's up? Yeah, I know you definitely been on those tracks for sure.
Yeah, right. Well, that crosses when you go to Farmers Oval. Then, if you go into that park, Mafara Park, they call it, I think. Then you look and you're right. That's the M train line. Those are the lines that went Beach Street. And if you're into that kind of graffiti stuff, you know what I'm talking about. The Fresh Pond Station, which in Beach Street they turned into Westchester Avenue, and I remember them filming that. But That's where we that's what we did when we were kids. We went to the roller rink. We got into the breakdancing era. I remember with a couple of my friends, if they're listening out there. I remember JoJo, this kid JoJo and Pete. God rest his soul, he passed away. Kid Anthony. We used to go to the movies just to watch the just begun scene in the Flashdance
Uh-huh.
with the, with those three guys breakdance when they, and then we would leave. We were so amazed by it. So we grew up in that era too. The graffiti, well, not so much into graffiti, but some kids got into it as well. The
Yeah.
Oasis, we went to the roller rink right across the street from my house. We'll talk about that stuff. It was where we start doing meeting up, getting involved in stuff that start doing thug things, and then eventually bigger things and bigger until I'm here fucking somewhere in the West Coast giving you a narrative, you know.
So I want to end the episode. Once again, you're watching or listening to episode 9 of 52 Topics with Frank Fiorellino. We're doing something different today. We decided to do a completely live stream episode. Putting up the pictures. Usually we do these pre-records and we release them with a live premiere, but we're doing a live stream. So we went over a lot of what we wanted to talk about. I want to just bring it back to you, Frank, working in these card games. Hey, Ruby, what's going on? Good night, Pedge. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping
Good night,
by.
Pedge. Good night.
I want to
Pedge
bring it
used a
back
lot
to
of that. You know, he remembers that time. There's probably a lot of people listening who remember what I'm talking about.
to you specifically, as far as you working these games, because you do different things over the years, right? So when
Mm-hmm.
you first go into those things, what is your first job? You specifically in these games? Are you coffee guy? Or are
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course.
okay?
Yeah, you
No,
start at the bottom when you're young.
right. But no, but it sounds stupid. I'm a huge coffee lover. I have 1,000 fucking 100 million milligrams of caffeine a day. I love espresso. I love everything. And I know it's like a joke, coffee boy, haha. But not everybody, yeah, it's a thing to make espresso, to use like a commercial machine, like a real machine, and to fucking make drinks and stuff. So is there some sort of like training or something, or does somebody tell you how to use those machines? That's something actually I want to know.
No, so my brother Phil ends up getting a place in '83, right before everybody gets arrested. You would think my uncle got him that place or got him
What
in there,
place
but
is that?
Concadoro become
Okay,
Super
so this
Sport
one.
after that. So he was a little bit younger than that whole scene, so he didn't get into that. But he could have. I mean, not that he could have. Eventually, he could have, but he didn't. So he gets a chance to get in a place like that. Him and a friend of his, and they ended up getting the place together. The friend didn't work out. It was this guy. His name was Montana, last name, and they ended up selling. So he's still young. He wants to go out. So I get stuck there. I think I'm working with a fucking. I'm very young, 12 maybe. So I got a milk crate making fucking coffees while they will go out, getting chicks. So then he brings my other brother in, the one who passed away, Joe, a couple of years. The other guy leaves and they become partners. And they had the place for about 15, 17 years out there. No, more than that, about 15 years. Easy. And that was it. And I worked for my family. I can't hear you.
You were just doing it when you were young, so nobody had to show you, basically.
Well, yeah, they had to show me, but I mean,
But
after a
I'm saying you
while,
were
it
doing it
came
when you were a
natural.
kid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Of course, of course.
So after that, what do you, I guess, graduate to? What's your next job that you're able to do?
That's it. I mean, my
I mean,
family
you
owns
said you were working
coffee.
the door at one point. I mean, you're
I work. Yeah, I worked the doors at eventually at the Baccarat game. Yeah, I get
yeah.
graduated. I worked the door, and anytime the game it was easy money. Just go there, and watch the door, make sure nobody. And they gotta trust you too. You gotta have a fucking good eye to have a door job. It's not like they put anybody there. You gotta have some kind of larceny and malice in you. You know what I mean?
Are you strapped?
Um. Hmm?
Is that even
No, we weren't allowed to carry guns at the game, and
okay?
I mean, no, not at all. And there was an incident when my cousin takes over the game in 2002. Some two drunk guys from the Bobby side come in, and they start picking on this one guy that they knew, this Joe Deli guy, and it was getting a little heated, and we were figuring they might have been. I don't know if they were. They were making motions and whatever. They were drunk. It got taken care of the next day though. But no, that you could get. That's one of those things you could get killed for.
Really?
Yeah, you bring. Yeah, because yeah, of course. No, no, you can't bring that shit.
Just for just having it. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, you won't get killed that day, but I mean, if it's
No, I
in
know you don't mean
multiple
like
circumstances,
right.
especially if you know, bro, just they'll tell you don't do that again.
Yeah.
If there's a
Yeah.
second
Never
time, you
new
could
one.
get yourself in that. The drinking was held at a very 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 minimal. And if they liked you or whatever, you had to go in the other room, take a drink, and come back. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of money involved. Where there's alcohol and a lot of money involved, and people losing. Um, the frame of minds are different. Guy might think you're laughing at him or whatever when you lose, and that's not that could cause a problem.
What was the craziest thing you've seen? Or did you have to break anything up?
No, 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 no,
No.
no, no. It was like a church. It was that, and that's what it was built out to be like. You see, this is a church. Don't do nothing here. Um, don't create no heat. It's funny because one night they were robbing the fucking bar across the street from Giannini's, and I'm looking out, and they're going in there with fucking hand trucks,
Oh shit.
and they're robbing the fucking Joker poker machines. Later on, I found out. Guess who they were called? My buddies.
Oh.
The same fucking guys I grew up with, but I thought that was fucking funny anyway. I'm like, look at these motherfuckers,
Half Day of the Jackal. He agrees with Sewer Pipe Castle. Best show, interesting, fresh, no bullshit. Thank you, Half Day of the Jackal. Maureen says,
Hey,
rest
Maureen,
in peace, rest in peace, Ralph Mucci, the Wise
aka
Up
the Rise
Show.
Up Show.
I can't say I know who he is, but rest in
Well,
peace
rest
for
in
sure.
peace. Yeah, of course.
Uh,
How many people we got in the house?
we got 137. Chaim Putz, over your time, how many games were held up?
Uh-huh.
Were
Oh,
any games held up?
we'll get to that when I got to talk to a certain friend of mine, and he could give you more insight on the two that couple who actually was robbing these places.
Right. Yeah,
One
that
of
would
these
be good.
coffee shops got
Right.
robbed twice in Middle Village, and we felt that they did it as well. The couple did, and that was in Middle Village. Mikey's car, no Mikey Boots' place got robbed twice at the same kind of MO.
And these are the Uvas, right?
Yeah, because you see, like if you had machines, they would have a bankroll available that were worth like um $2,000 just in case people won. So they knew that. So they would go in there if there's a chick or somebody had flash a gun, they're gonna give you the money right away.
Right.
So they knew who to rob, and there was no cops involved. They weren't gonna go to the cops. Well, they robbed my Joker poker machine money.
Yeah, and hopefully that person comes on and we'll do a show on that. That'll be very interesting.
Yep, yep,
Carmine
yep.
S says Lavaza boy.
Yeah, that was so.
Yeah.
Bobby Glass's favorite coffee was Lavazza. And there was a guy in the Gambino family, well, an associate, money guy. He owned a coffee. They distributed coffee, but Bobby didn't like his coffee, so he got Lavazza. And you know what? Lavazza is a better coffee, actually. The Uvas, yes. Hey, Matt, what's up? Roro, Carmine, who else? Hey, OG Ruby, what's going on? And George, I said hi to. I just don't want to forget about nobody. Cindy.
Who else?
And
Yeah. Matt, what's going on, buddy? Another live. We're doing an episode instead of a pre-record. We've been doing an episode tonight.
yeah, we're gonna try something new. We usually don't, but it came out okay, I guess.
Well, they'll let us know in the comments.
Yeah, they'll be like, we don't like that. We're like, go back to your old format.
Yeah, go back to the pre-records. Don't worry. This is just an experiment.
It is an experiment. If you guys don't like us doing it this way, let us know. I mean, it's not about us; it's about you guys. This is my second job, and I'm beginning to like it. And this is against your second job too, right?
Joey Freaks. Yeah. Content creating is a second job for me. Yes.
Joey, what's up, buddy? What's up? What's going on?
I have three jobs now. I have my job, I have Crime Spot, and then we have 52 Topics with Frank. Fiordolino. Carmine
Yeah,
asks,
I'm looking
Professor
at some
Fiordolino,
other
you have a
stuff
shitload of
too.
information and stories, he says. Yeah, we're going to get to all of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I feel that these are the ones that that are a little bit boring for people, but to set up where we're at and where we're in the neighborhood we're in, and
Right.
what's going on, we gotta start from the beginning because I
Yeah.
once the picture the government puts out, not the government, the press puts out in the 90s about my friends and everybody is that, oh, these kids have just had it that way. They grew up this way and their parents were who and that, and they just got into it because they could. But
Right.
there's a fucking storyline to this. This is what happens. A lot of the older people went around in our lives once some of us went stuff. We didn't have good role models. My dad was a good guy, but he wasn't that guy,
Yeah.
to give me a kick in the ass. He supplied a lot of my friends' family were in jail at the time, so we didn't have that. There was a lot of bitterness. There was a lot of stuff that went on. It wasn't like we were spoiled kids. We were far from it. We did things because we were broke and fucking gambled all the time.
Yeah, and you just happen to all be in the same area, which is
Oh, we were friends. We played ball
yeah,
together. We watched football together. We watched baseball. We were just like any other normal kids, but it goes to show in life sometimes if you don't have that right guidance, you're gonna fucking slip.
yeah.
And I don't, that's what happened. A lot of these guys, to be fair to them, they didn't mean they had to talk. They didn't talk, and a lot of them did. And we'll talk about that. We'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah. I buy that one David Price sometimes when I buy the instant espresso. If they don't have the Bustelo, I buy the tiny Medaglia d'Oro, the little tiny one.
Yeah, but tell you the Bustelo, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never had it before. I had it I was hanging out with some chick out in Florida, and she's American as hell. She was like, "I got this Bustelo. You ever had that?" I was like, "No." Well, go ahead. No, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's good. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Maybe it's in
Yeah,
my
Matt, as
blood.
opposed to pre-recorded. Yeah, we pre-record our Wednesday shows. We do live Mondays. We might go back to that too. Because I think when we do, we could fix what we don't not what we don't like, but the what we miss rather, because we're gonna miss. I'm gonna be over now, and I'm gonna be like, oh fuck, I forgot to mention this, that, and the
Yeah, yeah.
third.
It's easy to pre-record. I mean,
Yeah,
if you
yeah, yeah,
guys like this, we'll definitely do more. Obviously, when you guys watch the pre-records, I like to throw in a lot of photos and a lot of videos if I can, which I'm doing live for you tonight. But I guess I could probably even do it even more if it's a pre-record, if anyone even cares about that. But I think maybe we'll mix them up. If we could do an episode like we did tonight, where Frank is confident on speaking at length and what he wants to speak about, then we'll do a live. If not, because we do things where we're talking about, it's not always organized crime. We're talking about general New York City crime, and a lot of conversation could go into that, and some of the
yeah,
different things we've discussed.
yeah. No, no, for sure, for sure. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's not easy improvising like on doing improv on stuff like this. So you forget stuff, and then people are like, well, how about that? And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we'll see where it goes from here. Some things, like he said, I'm going to be comfortable with, like Brett said. Some things I won't. Not comfortable, just a little bit. And then the other bad thing is I have a fucking problem looking at the comments.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that you
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
try not
yeah,
to.
yeah. It
Yeah,
throws me
yeah, yeah.
off. It
If
throws
we're
me
gonna do
off.
episodes, yeah. Who's
Hmm.
that girl? Brad, I like the live so I can take screenshots of my ex's face for Dart League night. Hey, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. She's always gonna be bitter. I get it though. I mean,
Chop shops
look
near
what
Shea
she's
now
missing.
field and tourism. Yeah, yeah, George. There is a portion of the what we call the Iron Triangle still there. Some of it is still there. It will all be gone soon as they build up condos and a soccer stadium. So what I'm going to do for NYC Crime Spot pretty soon is I'm going to walk through what's left there, tell you guys some stories, and we'll give you the final look at the infamous junkyards across the street from Shea Stadium, City Field, another place that me and my friends used to mess around in. Frank, we would go there and then we would go down the side and go under the overpass, under into the bowels of the fucking Van Wyck, and you'd run into
Wow.
all types of shit down there. Santeria, You run into the
Really?
skeleton. Yeah, we ran into the skeleton with the hair and the dollar bills, and because a lot of those guys in the junkyard, what they would do is some of them are even homeless. They would work there all day. They would
Uh-huh.
they would swing around, go under the Van Wyck into the pits, and drink, get fucked up, Santeria, and then we would go down there. We would find all that shit, man.
That's
Uh,
crazy. That's crazy.
so we're
That's
gonna go. I'm
weird.
gonna go take a walk through what's left of the Iron Triangle. We'll do that for NYC Crime Spot. You guys can get a little walk and talk. Carmine Agnello, of course. Yeah, he had a spot over there. We did a lot. We did a lot over there. It was fun
I
times.
wonder if he joined in those Santeria fucking rituals. Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
we,
hey,
we,
where
we
you bringing? Where you bringing me? And picture him like, what the fuck is this?
Chris,
Orbo, wake up, baby.
when are you gonna do a reboot of the barn and the junkyard of Canadian? Yeah, I'm gonna do a reboot of that. Yeah, I am.
Chris, hey, my man, what's up, buddy?
It's gonna take me some time because I have to redo the whole fucking thing. But I will do it. Reloaded. We'll call it Reloaded.
Reloaded.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's what
That
you
means a
gotta do
lot from you.
when you do a YouTube story and then a year later you make it better. It's Reloaded. I don't know when I'll be around, Kamara, to answer your question. Kamara.
Matt's having a little bit of a discussion with Kamara.
Who's Kamara?
Somebody. Sounds like somebody Godzilla used to fight. Godzilla versus Kamara.
Kamara.
Yeah, if I'm pregnant with your baby, Dilly Dina Sack. Okay, cool.
Wow.
Damn.
Amazing.
It was probably my brother. He makes those mistakes. He has kids at 60. Look him up. He's in Ridgewood.
What's up, Stevie the Gypsy? How you doing, buddy? How you doing? Who is that in your profile there?
Oh, right there, Steve the Gypsy.
Yeah.
It's probably him. Why could that not be him? Why could that not be Steve the Gypsy?
I guess it is. I don't know. It looks like one of them. Looks like one of them Lost Boys from Peter Pan or something.
I just noticed I'm wearing a Red Hot Chili Pepper shirt and I'm under a bridge.
There you go.
No pun intended.
Yeah,
no pun intended. I just fucking realized.
There you go. Now you got to start running with your shirt off, and you're really.
Yeah, you don't want me to roll my fucking shirt
off. George Singh says I used to play Joker over on Woodhaven Boulevard, Otto's Deli in the back room. Joker poker, I guess you're talking about.
Where Woodhaven Boulevard, Otto's Deli used to play. Yeah, well, they had one. Probably had. I don't know where Otto's Deli is, but yeah, there was a lot of places at them. Fruit markets, delis, pizza places. The Habibi guy, if he wanted to put one in. We don't pay today. Go the fuck out of here.
Yo, get out of here, motherfucker.
Yeah,
boss. Okay, boss. Put it back there, boss. Chief. That was a big one. Chief. Corruption Connection. Frank, what was your go-to pizzeria?
I like mid-Italian. I'm biased though on Gates and Fresh Pond. I'm trying to make those shirts out, Gates and Fresh Pond.
Brett, you should do yeah, we're gonna make shirts. Me and Frank were talking about that. We're gonna give some shirts out.
Yeah.
You get a shirt. You get a shirt.
Yeah. Who's hot? Who's not? Primo Canera needs a show done about him. Ferber was so happy when Frankie knew who he was. Primo Canera. Yeah, Primo Canera was a boxer then turned wrestler. He was yeah.
Brett, you should redo Lindenwood Watering Hole. So I am Carmine S, and when I do it, it's gonna be really good. Believe me. It's gonna be really good because I'm gonna be if this guy doesn't disappear on me again, I'm going to be walking there with a certain individual into the hole.
Yeah, well, who said go to food aside of any Italian food? Matt asked. I'd probably go German food. I like German food. I think because I was so raised on Italian food, the schnitzels and the bratwurst and the German goulashes, and I was kind of spoiled because Ridgewood, Glendale had a lot of German spots, and I like German food. I know it's not popular with a lot of people.
I love it. Still a sauerbraten, a little
sauerbraten. I like the Jewish deli as well, but which are pretty similar in ways. The comfort food stuff, but those are two of my favorite foods. Yeah, we used to go to the Argentinian place; they were pretty good too.
A lot of steak in those places, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love this town. Thank you, Godfather Cali. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah, a lot of stuff you would eat probably in Texas. Yeah, I liked it. It was pretty cool. Schnitzel boy says Putz.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Schnitzel boy. You
I
fucking
was proud.
Spatzel boy. You didn't know what Spatzel was when I told you last time.
What was Spatzel?
Spatzel, that's like the little pasta, like it's not pasta, it's made from like maybe wheat or I guess similar to pasta. That's what they would
Yeah.
give you at the German place on the side. They give you the little Spatzel with the little brown
I
gravy.
ain't gonna eat that crap. Fucking if I want the pasta, I go to a
Get the
pasta
fuck out
joint.
of here. But it's at the German place though.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, you don't get a
Yeah, but
fucking
you eat a
hot dog.
schnitzel, it's like a fried
You
toast.
don't get a hot dog at an Italian place.
You get a sausage.
You get the chicken dance. They used to always do the chicken dance at those Oktoberfest in the neighborhoods.
My wife makes matzo ball soup. Very good. So do I, by
Good,
the way.
good.
So do
Yeah,
I.
that's cool. Yeah. So, you guys got any questions? We're here for a
Any
little
more
bit.
questions? Get them in. We'll be here for a little bit. If you guys like this format, maybe
Maybe not.
maybe not, maybe yes. We'll do 3 pre-records episodes and then 1 non-pre-record a month. Maybe we'll do something like that. We'll mix it up in that way. We got a 20 or 30-minute clip coming out later on this week. We got to decide what topic we're going to do that on.
Yeah, I was looking at that the other day. I'm fucking like, we're almost there. Where we want to be, but we're still a little bit of ways.
What was your question, DL? Ask it again. I must have missed it. Chris Archula, Frankie, we do that Polish weddings, chicken dance and hokey pokey. There you go. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Polish food, very not similar, but it's kind of like the same concept.
Polish food. The only thing I think of like kielbases and fucking pierogies,
Pierogies,
blintzes. I love a blintz, a cheese blintz.
cheese. I never had one.
You know what a blintz is? Come on,
No.
this guy.
George Singh says Casablanca was okay. Yeah, it was all right. It wasn't bad. It was okay. It was okay.
Yeah, we got a Spatzel boy here. There you go. Thank you, Mikey. Spatzel boy. We did chicken dance Oktoberfest in Kitchener, Ontario. Nice. All right, here we go. Oh, pigs in a blanket. Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Did you ever get caught? Did you ever catch anyone trying to cheat?
Not in Baccarat. It's hard because you're getting
really,
too
right?
far. Yeah, you can't. I mean, they'll try to fucking say the card was something else, but nah, it's hard. It's impossible.
Shea Stadium connections. I don't. In what sense, Chaim Putz? You have Shea Stadium connections, Frank?
No, I seen Jesse Burke there one time, a long time ago. I was going to see my friend who I grew up with pitch. I was going through it. Yeah, and I was going through the Diamond Club back then in Shea Stadium, and I seen him there. And I went to high school with Jesse, and I said hello, but he was there. That's the only I think that's the last time I went there. No, my friend was pitching for the Mets at the time. My friend, I haven't seen him in years.
Your friend was pitching for the Mets.
Yeah, he was pitching for the Yankees too. He came up in the St. Louis organization. We grew up together in Ridgewood, and we played Little League together. And yeah, let me just clear that I wasn't as good as he was, or anywhere near. And I played basketball with him too. Very good basketball.
Or no?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, people are gonna put it out anyway. Alan Watson.
Okay.
Yeah, so me, Alan, his dad used to coach us, and he played on that. I think he has a ring with the '98 Yankees. To be honest with you.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
Mm-hmm. See, that we talk about people that just went a different way in life.
Well, yeah.
His dad was the guy. God rest his soul. Al Senior was always on him because Alec could have went bad in a second. That's who he was if you didn't watch him. But he didn't. He stayed with him, and he had like a 7-8 year career in the major leagues.
That's not bad.
No, not at all.
It's not bad at all.
Shit, if I could have played one day, I would have been the best.
Yeah. DL says, did the house ever take any big losses? Impossible, right?
No. It was just a player against customers and vice versa. You whatever the guy wanted. Every time there was a winning hand and it consisted of a certain amount, the house was taken. So no, the house never lost.
Corruption Connection, was Valentino's market on Fresh Pond with anybody?
Not that I know. They were pretty to themselves. I'm not that I know of. Not back then anyway. Not back then anyway.
Killer Power Slave, NYC Crime Spot. Do some Jewish
You know
mob
who
stuff.
they used to go to when they had a problem? Actually, the D'Angelos. They were the ones who owned the Seneca Chapel. So that was their rabbi sort of. You know, they had a good
Okay.
connection with them. Not them, but the uncles, the father,
That's a funeral
and
home, right?
yeah, that's the funeral home, Seneca Chapel. I don't know if it's still there, but their uncles were the ones we'll be discussing on Cypress Gardens. That's a triple homicide. Two of the uncles died. They got killed that day, and another individual. Oh, Coop asked
Killer
me if I knew a certain person before. Yeah, I knew Alex Poop.
Killer Power Slave. If you go to my channel, I guess most people don't think of them as Jewish, whatever, but they are Jewish. If you go to my channel and you look at the organized crime stuff I've done on those Brighton Beach guys like Manya Elson, FC Agron, Vladimir Reznikov. I've done stories and also locations walking around Brighton Beach for these videos, doing tours of Brighton Beach. So that is about the closest to like Jewish mob on my channel, and often just classified as Russian mob for United States meaning, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so that would be that. But it's you're not going to find like the Abe Rellis or Lansky or Murder Inc., Buchalter or whatever content on my channel. As of now, no, you're not going to find any. But
That was pretty much not a thing anymore. I read a book a couple years ago by somebody Cohen, his last name. It's called Tough Jews.
Tough
Really
Jews.
good,
Yeah. Yeah. I have the book.
really, really good book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he talks about why there's no more the Jewish gangster. Why was that a thing of the past? And he makes
Right.
so
I
much
mean,
sense.
they weren't as emboldened as like the Italian kids it wasn't the same. It was kind of more like they went to college and fucking became
Hmm.
dentists, lawyers, the typical what you would say. I guess it really wasn't. I mean, a lot of those guys got fucking eviscerated by the law anyway.
Yeah, but the whole thing was why they did not want their kids to go to that
Right.
route.
Right. It
They
wasn't
yeah,
encouraged.
they Shine Putts. Yeah, it is a great book. And
Um,
they basically wanted their kids to go become lawyers, doctors,
right.
prosecutors, whatever, but
Yeah.
not mobsters and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So the
it
next
was a
closest
good
thing to Jewish mob in America is the guys that came here in the 70s with the Soviet Jewry movement, and you had people in the United States fighting for them to come here too. But as we mentioned in our 82 episode, as I mentioned on my channel, a lot of bad guys were unloaded on the United States in that movement. A lot of them were already gangsters, but they came and they took over Brighton Beach and this and that. Why do they call it the Russian mob? Most of the guys aren't even from Russia. Yeah, well, they call it the Russian mob because it's convenient mob fast. They also just call it the Soviet mob sometimes, just to encompass the whole USSR, which is Belarus at the time, Ukraine, whatever. I think Ukraine used to be called something else, I think, right? Before that.
Oh, I don't know. But Jewish
Moldova?
organized crime is still a big thing, especially in Israel. It's huge in Israel. And you believe it or not, you see that whole landscape in Tel Aviv, all them buildings and stuff. They say that like 40% of those buildings are scam buildings where they scam people like trading and all that.
Yeah, I
Like
heard.
they do in Nigeria, and they make phone calls, but in a higher level, they have the buildings and to show for it, and they're always employing people to do those calls for them. They want Americans or whatnot. So that whole landscape, 40% at Tel Aviv, they said is fucking scammers and organized crime.
Yeah,
You know, they're
yeah.
huge. They're huge. Israeli crime is huge, but we're talking about the ones that involved with the Italian American mob. That's a thing of the past.
Right, right. Chris Archula, Chris Rosenberg. Yeah, well, Chris Rosenberg wasn't with Jews. He was with Italians because he wanted to be Italian.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
His
yeah,
name
yeah.
was Harvey. It wasn't Chris.
What was his deal, though? I mean, was he really? Did he
Harvey
really?
Rosenberg?
Well, I know what he was about. I know what he was
Yeah.
capable of doing. We all know that. But I mean, as far as like with the mayor, what kind of relationship did they have? He knew him since he was young.
Well, here's what he looked like in high school, just in case anybody wants to know.
What was he, a flock of seagulls? A flock of seagulls?
This is 1969, a Harvey Rosenberg graduation photo, Tilden High School. So they, you know, there is some debate about this. So if you read Murder Machine, it's like Roy DeMeo met him when he was 16 years old.
Like that?
Even before that, because that would be his graduation photo. According to Peter LaFroche, Pete the Pick, who was friends with Harvey, and they were car thief buddies when they were teenagers. Pete does not remember Roy DeMeo ever being around when they were 16 years old, or he thinks he probably met him maybe when he got out of high school, or maybe when he was 19 or 20 or something. But I don't know. So he met him pretty young, though, probably somewhere between 18 to 20 years old or something.
The
Selling
Rainbow
drugs.
Mob.
Yeah, selling drugs and fucking eventually murdering people, numerous people.
I mean, he had no qualms with the arena guy, the Vito Arena guy, who was basically out a homosexual individual. You know,
Right.
he had no problem with that.
Yeah. Apparently not. No. No.
Which is you know kind of like really weird in those mob inner circles. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about.
Right. How old was Harvey when he died? Harvey, when he died, was he was born in 55, so he was, I don't know, he was like not even 30. And he probably
Yeah.
killed like fucking 30 people. I don't know.
Wow, and he was bullied, unbelievable.
Yeah, he would call himself Chris DeMeo. Actually, when he before he died, he actually tried changing his name to Christopher Rosalia because he married an Italian girl. So he was
Hmm.
going by Chris Rosalia at the end there. So he wanted to be Italian so bad, this dude. And
Yeah, apparently so.
so but
Mm. Wow.
yeah,
So we're talking.
he ended up getting his, you know.
Yeah. He got involved in a quadruple homicide or something.
Yeah, it was a coke deal, and he decided to murder the guys, and they were
And,
not
and,
the.
and the family was involved too.
No, this was just him fucking. It was a nut job.
Yeah, but he killed like the. What I'm trying to say is he killed the not the family, but he
Cubans,
killed.
Cuban coke. Well, you know,
And a
Cuban
woman
cocaine
was
dealers.
there also.
Who?
A woman as well. The guy's girlfriend.
No, that was another situation.
Oh,
That was the
okay.
situation.
That got him killed.
No. The situation
Oh,
that got him killed is what they call the Cuban crisis, when he whacked like 4 Cuban dudes in a coke deal. He decided instead of going through the deal, he fucking murdered them. And he also murdered this guy that he knew, that who was in on the deal, that this kid that he knew from when he was younger. And then the kid's father ends up getting murdered, or the other way around. He murders these 2 family members later also. The Padnicks, which is a really sick story because these guys
mhm.
are all fucking sick in the head. But whatever, he robs the wrong Cubans of the cocaine, and it comes down that they have to murder him in turn. And
And that's what happened.
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Damn.
sick. But the one with the woman, that's another story. Yeah, that's another crazy story.
Richard Castagnez. My dad used to Paul Bear used to Seneca Chapel. I used to take the phone calls when I was a kid when the funeral homes would call for my dad. Oh wow,
Wow.
cool. Yeah, that's cool. There was one kid in my neighbor. I forgot his name. He used to have a wig, and he was a Paul Bear. My brother used to fuck with him all the time. He used to tell him, "Well, listen, we got a body. You know, when you guys bury, you mind putting it in the with another guy you just laid out." And the fucking guy wouldn't show up for like 3 months. You know.
Jesus.
Would fuck with him. You know, we had no body.
Yeah. Chris and Roy whacked the blow dealers. Yeah.
So what do we got going? What kind of shows we got going coming up?
So yeah, so we got, what do we got?
Let me.
We got
I mean,
Rayful Edmond. We're going to be talking about him because you were locked
we're
up
gonna
with
talk
him.
about Rayful. I did time with Rayful.
He just passed away. We're going to be covering him. You have a gripe with the local police precinct. I think we're going to get into that.
Yeah. He did. You know, I was in jail with a lot of freaking people, and that just happened to be newsworthy at the time. There was this one kid, Christopher Rackencourt, who was the biggest con artist out of France. He came here. He was saying he was Sophia Loren's kid. was doing this and a third, and I'll cover him a little bit, not fully, but enough. Him and Jackie used to drive him crazy, fucking Jackie DeRoche. But we'll get to that. Did Frank go to after hour spots? I did, George. There was going by the Sage Diner. What the fuck was that? I used to go to that one a lot. Take it easy, Chris.
Where
Take
was
it
the
easy.
Sage Diner? See you later, Chris. Have a good night,
On
buddy.
Queens Boulevard. On Queens Boulevard. So there was
Okay.
one right there. I remember it had the fish tanks. I think it was like a semi biker one, but it was after hours. But I used to go to that one quite a few. You didn't need after hours in New York. Remember, fucking bars used to close the shades, and then at 6 o'clock they come up again and you drink again.
Billy Johnson. Yeah, the Plug's girlfriend was with the guy. The Plug's go. Oh, the Cubans. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, one of their girlfriends was there. You're correct. Serrano. The Serranos.
Well, I was saying that. So yeah.
A corruption connection. John Panisi said that Dominic's hot dog truck on Woodhaven was with you guys. Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
If it was, I wouldn't have known about it. I mean, we used to go there, so it wasn't like, hey, it was like, hey, how you doing? It was, like, it didn't feel like it was connected. But wait a minute. It was just because I would go with a certain individual, but it could have been. It could have been.
Yeah, Mob Facts. I'm pretty sure El Negro was the name of the guy that wanted blood, and they wanted Harvey's murder to make the newspaper, and they actually managed to pull that off.
El Negro, don't fuck with him.
Luckily, they were actually able to make his death appear in the newspaper by doing it the way they did it. So
there was this other book that came out in '90 because a lot of shit was going on in the Dominican crew out of the Bronx and Harlem. Forgot the Wild Cowboys. I thought they were called or something.
Yeah, that guy Brazen Breeds. He's doing a YouTube show on them right now. A whole series on them. Yeah,
Lenny and something else. They both flipped, the brothers. And they had this one guy, El Feo, who was in a wheelchair. He was the one. Who's the guy with the Westchester Theater? What was his name?
what's his name? With the FBI fucking rat, with the FBI handler on him. De Palma.
De Palma. So De Palma and him were in MDC, and De Palma wanted some guy whacked, and he was telling this guy, they were both in wheelchairs, by the way. He's telling him that he wants this guy El Feo, who was part of that Wild Cowboy things. He got paralyzed by a bullet that he wanted to take some guy out. Guy tapes him, and they go to trial. They hated this guy El Feo so much that they gave him a pass. He gets up from the fucking, he beat the trial. The Palmer did. He gets up from the wheelchair. He goes, thank God. What happened to that fucking wheelchair,
That's like La Ling from fucking Carlito's Way.
Yeah, right? I can walk. Yeah, he goes, come here.
I can't walk.
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna tell this guy that I want to take out because I want to take out somebody out there. That's how fucking stupid this guy was.
Carmine wants to know if you ever speak to Bill Jr.
I text sometimes. I talk to him. Yeah. I haven't talked to him, but by through texting. Yeah. If Bill's listening, man, hang in there, bro. He's a good dude. He, this isn't easy. So fucking flipping thing. And people, especially if your family ain't on board sometimes, you go through certain things. Like today, I just fucking I lost it a little bit, but it is what it is. Fuck it, Yeah. But yeah, so if you're listening, Bill, hang in there, buddy.
They had Paul Castellano worried. Mob Fact says.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean.
Mob guys.
I don't know how worried, because listen, a lot of people say, and we're going back to DeMeo again, right? But a lot of people say, oh my God, Sherry Golden, the woman that gets murdered in 1977, who Pete the Pick goes to trial twice on, and he beats it in both trials, double homicide, actually. That's 77. You have the Cuban crisis, which he's saying Paul Castellano was worried. And then you have Dominic Rigucci, who Roy DeMeo murders, the 18-year-old vacuum salesman, thinking he's a Cuban coming to his house.
Yeah.
Roy DeMeo doesn't get killed till 1983. So, it's a lot of people. I'm not saying you're saying that, Mob Facts, but a lot of people, he was making Paul so mad, he just had to go. He doesn't get killed till 83. All of that stuff happened 77, 78. So why the question is why did Paul put up with it so long, and how much did he know? And I'm gonna guess that he didn't know a lot as far as how many people they actually were murdering.
Oh no, fuck no. I don't think so.
Probably like 80% of them were not sanctioned. Seriously.
Yeah, yeah. Let me tell you something. Every time you're around somebody and you get into some kind of fucking, not even to that fucking extent, things that are like not even asked about, unsanctioned.
Yeah.
Guys start to fucking they get pissed, they get a little paranoid, they get a little worried.
Yeah, it's
And
money, Pat Dor. Money is the answer for sure. For sure.
one,
He was
yeah.
allowed to get away with a lot. I mean, a lot of it, obviously, nobody
Mm-hmm.
knew. Although Sammy
Mm-hmm.
claims everybody knew what was going on. I mean, then how come you should have fucking put a bullet in his head, Sammy, or at least tried to do it.
What does Sammy didn't know about? He knew everything.
The funny thing is, he goes after Roy gets killed. It's in the newspaper, and he says he goes into Castellano's home, and then Castellano shows him the newspaper talking about Roy's murder. And Castellano goes, "What do you think about that?" And he goes, "If you don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck, Bo." Some shit like that.
Really?
He's like, "As long as you don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck, Bo."
Oh, do I think he kissed fucking Castellano ass? Yeah, of course. But that's normal though. In the mob,
Frank, can you say this? It's all about the numbers.
it's all about the numbers. The numbers.
Where is
Hey,
Lee?
people, I like the other one. Hey, people.
Hello, people. So
Hello,
Lee,
people.
Lee, Lee was here the other day. He gave us some tips.
A fan. He's a fan. I know he's an undercover
I
fan,
like
but he's
Lee. I
a fan.
like. Come on, Lee, hang out.
Come on.
I know you're wrestling with the devil over there, but
That's a little bit the
I thought
devil.
fucking WWE's on Netflix now. I was like, what the fuck is this?
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out today. I seen it myself.
Carmine asks, Francesco Fiorellino, do you think John Gotti was scared to take out Roy DeMille? Frank DiChico convinced the Gemini twins to kill him.
Convinced the Gemini twins to kill him. Who? Gotti? I don't think he was afraid. I don't think Gotti was afraid. Everybody fears something to a certain extent, but I think he looked at them a little bit different from the normal guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought Rosenberg was whacked because of Cubans threatening to go to the. No, that is why. That is why. Yeah, a lot of those guys were. Yeah. What's his name? Battle out of New Jersey. He was using the Bay of Pigs, I'm pretty sure. Why is he giving tips? Yeah, all right. I know. He was just like something with YouTube tags. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot. A lot of Italian guys out there. They don't like to fucking interact with um other people, other backgrounds, races.
Lee's a great comic. Hey, we spoke about these guys, right?
Yeah, I knew
Giamatti?
Pete. And Pete, the son. Yeah. He was at my brother. I seen him a couple, but he was also at my brother's. I'm thinking engagement back in the day. He was a nice guy. He was a really nice guy. Pete was nice. I seen him a lot. I think his dad was in jail at the time. He used to come around a lot with Giorgio.
What was that Coke bar on Fresh Pond on the corner of Giannini? Was that mobbed up?
The Coke bar, the corner of Giannini. No, that wasn't that was across the street. The Everglades. Yeah, you ain't wrong. That's funny, George. George. That's funny. You made me laugh. That's where they filmed the Jerky Boys, right there at the Everglades. Remember when they using the phone? You had a whole bunch of extras come to Giannini's and think they just could fucking
Is
hang
that
out.
right? Is that where they filmed it?
Yeah, for
Or when
sure.
he's calling demolition or whatever the fuck the dude is on the phone?
Yeah.
That's a good. I don't want to say that's a good. It's a good movie. It's better
Well,
than you might think. That's what I'll say. I think it's funny. And Alan Arkin is really fucking funny in that movie.
Alan Arkin is funny.
He's funny as hell in that movie.
Frank, did you come after Donnie Brasco? Yeah, for sure. I was a kid during that whole fiasco, but I got the pleasure of meeting the Sonny Black crew, what was left of it, when they all came out of jail, and I did hang out with them for a little bit. Yeah, good fair amount. They were fun. They were a fun group.
So I'm gonna go back to the Jerky Boys. So when they came to film over there, you guys were there?
Yeah, so what happened was the extras were there, and we had a back room, and they just came in there, fucking sat there like waiting for their cue, and well, the manager says people over. He goes, "You see what they want," and I wasn't working there at the time. I just happened to be there that day, and They were like, "Nah, we're just waiting for actor." He goes, "No, you gotta order shit. All right, or get the fuck out of here." You had like these extras who just did it to be in a movie, but they think they could just fucking hang out in a a cafe, raw cafe.
Okay. Jake was from that. Yeah, they were.
They go from Middle Village or something. They always talk about 69th and Metropolitan and all that. Pretty sure there was
Paul
St.
and
John's
John.
alumni.
Say it again.
There was St. John's. I know.
Yeah, you can read that. I'm not reading that. Are you frozen? Or are you just fucking?
I'm,
What are you
I'm just
reading?
looking.
Oh,
I'm trying to figure. It's Sicilian for sure. I see the U's. Something about the young guys. I own spectacular. Have a spectacular. A lot of born good people. Yeah, I guess I'll figure it out. I'll ask him when I talk
take
to
a
him.
screenshot. Go back. What are we? 1 minute 45. 1 minute. 1 minute. Fucking 1 hour and 45 minutes 44 seconds.
Right. What do we got here?
There you go. Wait. There's another one. That would be cool. I asked Frank about that, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to though. I don't know.
What's that, Brett? You can get an interview with Joe, but then have Brett on the panel ask her. Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind.
I know he does a podcast with that. With who's that? What's that guy's name?
Jeff stumped me for sure.
The
I've seen
fucking.
the U's, and the U's mean it's Sicilian. I got some of it. What's that?
What's up?
What
No,
were
he
you
does
saying?
a podcast with that guy. I don't remember the
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah. They're pretty. You know what I like about them? They bring out those those phone calls
Yeah.
with
Yep.
Lefty and all that shit. You hear Lefty on that. He goes, I told him don't ever fucking put your hand around me, Tony Mary. You told him cock. You're telling him that because you want him to fear you and respect you. Yeah, another wise guy ain't gonna tell another wise guy. You take your fucking hand away from me or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did say. I think he said that. I don't know if he said. I remember he said that to
He's
Patrick Bet-David
talking. No, he's talking to
about Mira. I remember that.
about Mira, and then he goes, "And Sonny, if he's got anything to say, I'll tell him shut the fuck up too." A typical brokes to try to make fucking money out of somebody, by just putting fear in them.
Yeah.
A guy that's not involved, that's a big brokester move right there.
Chaim Putz with the funny questions. Ever attempt to kiss the cheek of a wise guy and wind up in half a lip lock? Just fucking.
No, no.
If if so, did it change the relationship with the victim? What the fuck?
Yeah.
What is going on with this guy over here?
Oh man, it is what it is.
Joey Frakes dropping the sizzle chest. Yes, that's right, fruity ass sizzle chest.
He's talking to Mira Captain, I believe he said. Oh, he's talking to Mira's captain. Oh, okay.
Danny the clone
That would
through.
probably been Caesar at the time, huh?
No, go ahead. I'm just reading.
'Cause I know he got busted by feds in the Iron Triangle. That was by you, no?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they ever actually raided that place over there that he had. I'm not sure. I could look it up. But like I said, I'm going to do the final walk and talk before they put a soccer stadium there and a fucking condo
Mhm.
or whatever else is going on over there. Some of the junkyard remains. You could walk through it. It's not as crazy as it used to be. I got
Right.
to pick up because I used to take photos in there too. Me and my friends would fuck around in there. If you guys could imagine, I don't know, a third world fucking shanty town with auto shops dropped in New York City. That's basically what the Iron Triangle was. Absolutely fucking disgusting. You could
Mhm.
barely drive through it without getting a flat. I remember one night, I'll tell you guys a quick story, not to go off topic. One night, me and my friends were in there. This might have been 1 o'clock in the morning. Me and two of my buddies. We were there to do something, not rob a place, but do something else. We weren't fucking crooks. But I think they had some crackhead Spanish guys in a hoopty playing security guard over there. And they saw us get out of our cars and walk up to this establishment. And I think they thought we were robbing the place. And we got into a fucking high speed chase inside that fucking junkyard with these two toothless fucking lunatics about 2 o'clock in the morning. And if you guys ever drove through the Iron Triangle, it's pretty hard to get into a high speed chase in here without fucking busting a tire. But it happened. And it was pretty fucked up. Let's put it that way. I
Yeah.
can't believe Lefty and the others didn't know Donnie Brasco was an undercover Fed. He sounds like
I,
a Fed in the wiretaps. To me, I said that to you too, Frank. He doesn't. I mean, maybe it's easy to to play quarterback now, but when I listen to him, he sounds like a fucking cornball. I mean, he doesn't really sound. Some of them, he sounds like straight up like a crybaby about a couple things. Like,
I feel that. No, yeah, I agree with Mobfax altogether. The Donnie Black, yeah. I think if fucking he doesn't, I think he's dealing with a fucking guy who's a degenerate gambler and thinks that's his fucking milk ticket all the time and vouches for him. And then soon Trey, and then after he I know what Trey is, and then after he vouches for him, right? You know, the other guys are like, oh, well, Lefty has to know who he is. Lefty's lucky he didn't get his head blown off right after that. I mean, he had him as his son. You know what I mean? Like fucking
yeah,
really, and I think there was all other ulterior motive to that than fucking just. He really felt this guy wasn't who he was. He had a second question himself for sure.
I spotted Santeria in Forest Park, a piece of meat with candy. So yeah, hopefully I see some when I film that. Hopefully I run into one of those fucking things. I would love to. Then maybe I'll get stabbed, but it'll be all right. It'll be worth it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, any more questions? Get them in now. We're gonna end the stream. We've been going almost 2 hours.
Yeah, Matt says he definitely did sound a little odd. Yeah, he did. I mean, I think so. There's a lot of things that came out that he said the other guys told him, but the other guys didn't have that role in that three captains. And he kind of helped Joe Messina, to be honest with you, later on because his story is all over the fucking board. You know, like and after going on what he said, right, and Joe got convicted on the conspiracy part of that on the three captain hit, and that was rightfully so. He was there, but based on the way it went down and all that, did nobody question him and tell him, "Hey, you told us this, you told us that. We went by what you told us, and we put people in jail by what you told us." So is it the end justified the means? You know,
Yeah.
it really didn't go down that way.
Thank you, Roro. Thank you, Roro.
Thank you, Ro. Thank you. Check out the three capo and that's something. Who said? I think Carmine said if my uncle knew Sonny Black, he better. He was involved in a triple homicide with him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Both my uncles. Not my uncle and my cousin. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that Fed boat. How'd they get away with that Fed boat? That was fucking crazy.
How about that fucking story he tells about? And I've said this a couple of times about Lefty having 200 bodies.
Oh yeah.
Oh fuck. Unfucking real.
Yeah,
but hey, that's what it is. Yep. We got 2 minutes, buddy. We got 2 minutes.
In the movie, Donnie Brasco breaks the tapes. In real life, it was probably because those tapes incriminated himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another good one. We wrap another one. What do you think?
Yes, sir. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out tonight.
Thank you so much again. Thank you for coming. It's going to get better. We are going to come out with these T-shirts as soon as we get it together. We're just getting over showing my ugly mug.
Yeah, we're going to get them together. You have any shirt ideas, let us know. Let me just say thank you to Sally, 5, Jason Diamond, 1999, Taylor, 1999, Tatone, 5, Timothy O'Reilly, 2. Greatly appreciate you guys.
Drum Capella, what's up, bud?
Yeah, so if you guys have any ideas for shirts, that would be pretty cool. If you guys want to see anything in particular on a shirt, maybe we could accomplish that for you. Any words, anything? What do you think, Frank?
About what? Up and coming shows?
No, shirts. We're gonna have hoodies. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I want to do. You got a lot of guys like the Ridgewood ones. We could do that. We could do the 52 topics. And I like Gates and Fresh Pond. That's another one I'm looking to do. So,
what's up, Trump Capella? No, we're not on the time. We're not on the
time. I like Red Rum.
Hey, Matt, $10. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Matt. Matt, thank you so much, buddy.
You're the man, Matt. Fucking
Matt is a good dude. Everybody's good. Everybody's good. Matt
DL needs a 3X.
Matt might like us a little more, but it doesn't mean we don't love you. You're like, whatever. We love you. It's all the same.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you, EPF 831. Thank you, buddy. Sebastian, I had to get a window replacement from there in the early 2000s. I don't know what. All right, yeah. So we'll get some shirts out. Frank wants to do some Ridgewood stuff. We're gonna have one with Frank actually on the shirt, flexing like this. We're gonna. Frank was telling me he wanted to do that.
When were we gonna talk about this? Yeah.
Right. Frank said he wanted to get that one going. So we'll
Tony Silo in the house, baby. Tony Silo.
Is Tony Silo really here?
Yeah, he's here. Just want to make me want to stay longer when Tony's around.
Great show. Better by the episode. Thank you, Silo. You're the man. Appreciate it, buddy.
A real Queens guy right there. He knows that.
Yeah.
You want to talk about somebody who I'm talking, he knows everything up to maitre d's, everything. People that I fucking know. I'm like, how the fuck you know that?
Yeah. I think we're from the same area, me and Tony.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. I am pretty sure. Hunchbacks need a car. Oh, you one of them Licata brothers, I guess. You're a hunchback. All right, we'll take care of you. Don't worry. We'll get the hunchback fit. Don't worry.
What is the proper word for that? I'm pretty sure it's not a hunchback.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never thought about it.
In the society we live in, but
is there a proper word for a hunchback? You don't see many hunchbacks. I might have only seen one or two in my whole life, maybe.
Really? There was an old lady when I was on Knickerbocker when we lived in Bushwick. She lived on the 3rd floor. Sadie, she was I don't know, she was just old or hunchback. I used to throw garbage out.
Sadie the hunchback. That's good.
Yeah, poor lady. She fucking probably was born in the 1800s because I was like 6 and she was like 90.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't think there's any other name for hunchback. I mean, I'm not sure, but we'll look into it. Maybe we'll do an episode on the history of the hunchbacks. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Tony Silo, good night. Matt, good night. Carmine S, Farmer Bo, everybody. Thank you, Roro. Thank you for all your help as always, Roro. We love you. We appreciate everything you do. All right, everybody.
Thank you, Ro. Thank you, Hutch, Matt, Unique, Masters. Who else am I missing? Trump Capella. I'm just reading.
Capella, you get the last word. The politically correct term is lumpy Americans.
Making Americans lumpy again.
EPF, peace, buddy. See you. All right, guys.
EPF, everybody. All right, later.